gentlemen. They're coming through right now, so just keep it safe. Am I in the way? Oh, sorry. we are.
I think we probably gotta go this way. Yeah. Go to the outside.
So what side do you want? What side do you want? That side might have to be. For sun or do you want for shade? I want for sun.
Good morning. I'm Kent Devereaux, president of Goucher College, and I would like to welcome you to our 132nd commencement. And please, and I would like you all to please welcome 2023 graduate Langston Henry, who will sing our national anthem. And
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And please remain standing for our opening invocation by Rabbi Josh Snyder.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Rabbi Josh Snyder, Director of Goucher College Hillel. Before I address the class, I want to offer a public note of gratitude to our administration, particularly our chaplain and president, for making the decision to move commencement back one day to avoid a conflict with the Jewish holiday of Shavuot. That quiet act underscores the commitment to diversity and inclusion at Goucher, means celebrating religious diversity as well. Thank you. It also speaks to the importance of flexibility, which is what I'd like to bless our graduates with today. Class of 2023, welcome to your commencement. What a long, strange trip it's been these last few years. Indeed. As you stand here today, I ask you to think back on your arrival to campus and how much you have each grown to be where you are today. As you do, I'll share a teaching from Jewish tradition. This comes from Avot de Rabbi Natan. A person should always be soft like a reed and not stiff like a cedar. Just as a reed stands in a place of water and its shoots replenish themselves when cut and its roots are numerous for a plant of its size, and even if all the winds in the world come and blow against it, they cannot move it from its place. Rather, it sways with them until the winds subside, and the reed still stands in its place. This teaching is echoed in many traditions and cultures, including in the Tao Te Ching, Aesop's fables, and even in Chaucer's works. At times of uncertainty and change, it's tempting to stand as a cedar and say, "Here is who I am, and I will not bend with the wind." But ultimately, the qualities of flexibility, humility, awareness of our context, openness to the other, belief in ourselves that we can handle change with grace, serve to give us the tools to learn, grow, and adapt. As you commence today as Goucher College graduates, may you take the flexibility you have learned here and apply it in your life. Remember the multiple perspectives and disciplines you have delved into here, and encounter the world with curiosity and possibility. Be willing to change yourself, and you will change the world. May you be blessed and kept from all harm. May you find goodness and grace on all the paths you face, and may your striving for purpose endow you with a sense of peace.
Please be seated. So good morning to our distinguished guests, Anna DeVere Smith, Adrian Arsht, assembled faculty, staff, trustees, parents, friends, family members, and most of all to the students of Goucher College's class of 2023. Welcome to this year's commencement ceremony. We are so glad to come together to celebrate your accomplishments this year, class. I want to acknowledge first as we gather here today on our beautiful campus for this most joyous occasion that in many ways we owe our good fortune to the communities and ancestors who have come before us. Goucher College currently occupies unceded land within the geographic sphere of influence of the Susquehannock tribe who maintained a kinship with this land in the Susquehanna River. We always pay our respects to the indigenous elders and tribal members of past, present, and future generations that we are still in dialogue with. We also want to honor the enslaved people who lived and worked on this very land in the 18th and 19th centuries, the extent to which we're only now fully coming to appreciate. Land that Goucher College bought in the first part of the 20th century and where we now gather here today for this commencement in the 21st century. So as I look out at you today, Goucher class of 2023, I can't help but think about how much our world has changed these past 4 years. You and me, we've been through a lot in that time. We arrived here together 4 years ago. Me, Goucher College's new president, and you, Goucher's incoming first-year class. As I told you then, I might not recall your name when we passed on Van Meter Highway or in the stands while we're watching a basketball game. But you would always be my class of 2023. Little did we know what would follow. And in fact, I doubt any of us could ever have imagined what would unfold over the next 4 years. We sent you all home prior to the spring break in 2020 with only a couple days' notice for what we thought might be 2, maybe a 3-week break. We were the first college in Maryland and one of the very first colleges in the nation to make that call based upon initial reports. We knew precious little in those early days of the pandemic, but what we did know did not look good. Little did we suspect that a 2-week break would stretch into a 1.5 years of navigating online education and isolation. In fact, I suspect few among us had ever even heard of Zoom back then. The phrase physical distancing had yet to enter our daily vocabulary. N95, KF94, mRNA, SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, a sea of acronyms and unknowns. Our world changed overnight, and we were afraid, for good reason. After all, none of us had ever experienced a global pandemic before, and unlike other catastrophic events, be it the Great Depression, World War II, hurricanes, or the Holocaust, no one else we knew had ever experienced a global pandemic either. Unprecedented seemed to be the buzzword of the day. We were in uncharted territory, but we were in it together. Our faculty took crash courses in how to teach online. Our IT staff worked with student affairs to distribute computers and Wi-Fi hotspots, install broadband access and software to make sure you and our faculty could continue our education. We pulled together. But the pandemic was just the start. From the call ignited by the murder of George Floyd to the long-deferred reckoning in this country for racial injustices past and present, to us watching live on television, to our disbelief on January 6th, perhaps the most serious challenge to America's democracy since the Civil War. Your 4 years here at Goucher College have been like nothing we could have ever imagined. But through it all, you persevered. You were resilient. Indeed, these 4 years have been historic and transformative. We've experienced the loss of loved ones and family members. You took to the streets to demand an end to the scourge of anti-black racism that is more pervasive in our country than the majority of Americans would dare to admit. You stood up and made your voices heard. You voted in record numbers, and we, as a college and a society, are better for it. However, today is not about the past. It's about you and the future you represent. Sorry to disappoint, but I don't have any sage advice or pat answers for you. No follow your dreams or your whole life is ahead of you cliche commencement remarks. Instead, I will just suggest you ask, what did you truly learn at Goucher? Not anything from your course of study or your major, not how to balance a redox reaction or calculate standard deviation, but about yourself. What have you learned from all the adversity and change you have experienced these past 4 years? What lessons will you take from here as you enter the next phase of your life? Those are the lessons that will survive. For, spoiler alert, the challenges ahead may be even greater in the years to come than what we've transversed these past 4 years. But so are the possibilities. How will you put the skills you've learned here at Goucher to good use? How will you be a force for positive change in the world? How will you affect that change in the world, not with grand gestures, but small, everyday actions? How will you cultivate compassion in a world that often seems cold and competitive? How will you use the power of art and creativity to transform lives and build community, even in the most dire of circumstances? In short, how will you be the change you want to see in this world? As the biblical citation, Thessalonians 1, chapter 5, verse 21, incorporated into the Goucher seal that hangs above my head, says, "Prove all things, hold fast that which is good." Today, I ask of all of you, class of 2023, what good, what truth will you carry with you on that next leg of your life's journey? My friends, my fellow classmates, we need your enthusiasm, your creativity, your intellect, and yes, your compassion to create the world we all want to live in. The challenges are great, but so are the rewards. Be a change maker, be a gopher. Now let's get this commencement ceremony underway. It is my pleasure to introduce our 2023 student speaker, Elizabeth Bobo. Elizabeth is a native of Milford, Pennsylvania, and is graduating from Goucher with a bachelor's degree in professional and creative writing and a minor in political science. So during her time here at Goucher, she's been an active member of the women's volleyball program, a writing center tuner, an ARST presidential diplomat, and both the director of student organizations and the chief of staff for the Student Government Association at Goucher College. She has received several recognitions and accolades, including the Josephine Fisk Gopher Pride Award, a 2022 College Sports Communicators Academic All-District Team Recognition in NCAA Division III, a member of the 2022 Fall Sports All Sportsmanship Team, a recipient of a Senior Leadership Award, and she was just named to the Dean's List every semester of her academic career. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Bobo to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. I'm pretty nervous, so please bear with me right now, okay? Admittedly, I spent weeks trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to say in this speech. I spent hours talking to my sister, bouncing ideas off my friends, and crafting the perfect concoction we call a commencement speech. I knew what I wanted to say, I just didn't know how to say it because it just seemed too simple, too easy. So here it is. You have to be and always will be your biggest fan, #1 supporter, and ultimate motivation. When I stepped foot onto Goucher's campus 4 years ago, I was not the same person I am today. I'm almost certain that you all can say the same thing, and when you really think about it, it's quite jarring just how much we've changed in this short amount of time. Luckily for us, depending on how you look at it, we had a 1.5-year time gap where time seemed to have stood still. The whole world stopped, and all we could do was stay inside and wait around for what was going to happen next. During that time, we were forced into our homes and out of our comfort zones, forced to try new things, forced to use alternative ways to communicate, forced to distance ourselves from one another, and forced to make tough decisions that would have not surfaced without this collective pause. Towards the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021, I was almost 300 pounds. I've struggled with my weight my entire life, but COVID changed everything. When all I could do was stay inside, I felt I couldn't fix what I felt was wrong. I didn't feel healthy when I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't like what I saw. I couldn't wear the clothes I was so desperately asking my parents to buy me for every weekend, and I repeatedly compared myself to my friends. I had gone through dozens of weight loss journeys before this, but much to my disappointment, they never worked. I looked to my dad to tell me what to do. I asked my coaches what I could be doing differently. I watched hundreds of YouTube videos and tried dozens of diets, but still nothing. Before returning to campus halfway through the spring of 2021, I had restarted yet another journey with my dad because I wanted to help him in his journey. I wanted to compete in my sport at the level that was required of me, and I wanted people to look at me differently. So, he would wake me up at 4 a.m. to work out, he would cook me healthy and enjoyable meals, he would encourage me to go to the gym even when I didn't want to, which was most days, and he helped me create and envision the outcome of my efforts. He built up my confidence for me. Sorry. When it was time to come back, I was petrified. I was scared that all the work I had done up to that point would dissipate once again, that it would amount to nothing as it had so many times before this. But then he told me this: you are the only one who determines what you will accomplish in your life. At the time, I didn't understand the magnitude of these words. I was blinded by my own fear that I couldn't do it by myself. But after the first few weeks of being back, I began to understand exactly what he meant, and not just in terms of my weight loss journey. Possibly without knowing it, you have taken a gamble, leaping into uncertainty and hoping for the best, on many things and many people throughout the course of your life. You took a gamble when choosing which school to attend, ultimately landing on Goucher because you decided that they would be the best choice. You took a gamble on the advisor you chose because you felt that their knowledge and expertise could help you succeed. You took a gamble on the courses you enrolled in, thinking that they would help build up the relevant knowledge and skill sets that would make you excel in whatever you chose to do. You took a gamble on the internship you may have worked in, hoping it could help show you what you wanted to do in the future. And you even took a gamble on the friends you made, making the subconscious decision that they would be the person or people that would help you navigate this silly little thing we call life. And most days, you took a gamble on the food of Mary Fisher, which is risky in and of itself. But now it is time to take a gamble on yourself. I'm sure you've all been feeling the pressure of starting yet another big chapter in life. The options you could pursue are endless in the future. And yes, I said endless because, well, you're sitting here today. And they've been swirling about in your head. You've been going back and forth on what you choose and giving it a well-thought justification as to why that should be your choice. With that, there comes a bit of uncertainty, doubt, and fear, which is completely normal. Your parents, friends, advisors, mentors, and coworkers have supported you and will always support you. There is no doubt that they will have your back, but this is your life. Nipsey Hussle once said, "Be your own biggest fan, your own biggest believer, and put it on your back and carry the weight." I stand here before you today, officially over 100 pounds down from when I decided that was enough was enough. From when I decided that enough was enough and I needed to be the one to take control. Unrecognizable from the person who first arrived here 4 years ago. As I look out at my fellow soon-to-be graduates with reverent admiration, all I can do is say the same. We have all changed in ways that we never thought possible because of the decisions we made for ourselves. You must be your own driving force. You must carry such boundless trust in yourselves, it would be impossible to be led by any other person. So with that, I'll leave you with this today. Remember to be the first person who tells you you did a good job. Be the first person who pats you on the back. Be the first person who praises your new idea. And be the first person to congratulate yourself. Remember to think of yourself first. Keep betting on you, and everything will fall into place. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2023.
So today's graduate and professional studies student speaker is Leon Emmanuel Payano Frijas. Emmanuel is currently pursuing a PhD in higher education administration at Bradley University, in addition to his two master's degrees in community leadership from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC, and higher education policy research and administration from Goucher College. Clearly a slacker. So, Emmanuel believes in transformational leadership and empowering young people in education. His core mantra is to love, honor, and respect people where they are. Emmanuel has an extensive background in financial and budgetary affairs, strategic and mission planning, and problem solving. He is affiliated with several professional and community organizations, including the Baltimore Social Entrepreneur Association, the NAACP, Wilmington Black Theater Ensemble, and the National Society of Leadership and Success. He is also involved in several volunteer organizations, including the Board of Child Care and Mana House. He has held various leadership positions, such as president and operator of Delmarva Monuments and executive director of Mother Enterprises. Currently, Emmanuel serves as an orientation advisor at UMBC, the Office of Academic and Professional Advising, a special project assistant for the Baltimore Entrepreneurship and Leadership Network, and a community safety fellow with the GBA, where he continues to make a positive impact in the most underserved communities and their residents. Please join me in welcoming Leon Emmanuel Payano Frijas to the podium.
Good morning. Thank you, President Devereaux, for that introduction. Members of the board, trustees, faculty, staff, families, guests, and my fellow graduates, it's my honor to be here today to represent the graduate and professional programs. Today, we celebrate educational accomplishments, a topic close to my heart, one that I believe is essential for society's progress and growth, is educational equity. As these words resonate with me, please forgive me, I'm moving ahead of myself. As we gather here today, I'm reminded of the words of Maryland's most notable citizen, Frederick Douglass, who said, and I quote, "Education means emancipation. It means light and liberty. It means the lifting up of the soul of man into the glorious truth, the light by which men can only be made free." End quote. These words resonate with me because they capture the essence of what educational equity means. The freedom to access and create knowledge, the light to see beyond one's current situation, and the opportunity to lift oneself and others to new heights. At Goucher, we embody this vision of educational equity. Our motto, which is in Latin, Gratia et Verte, is translated in English to mean grace and truth. This reflects the pillars of education. Grace, the ability to empathize with others and provide them with the support they need to succeed. And truth, the pursuit of knowledge that sets us free. We are a community of learners who recognize that we must work together to create a better future for ourselves and for those who come after us. I stand here today a grateful recipient of both that grace and that truth. As an advocate for educational equity, I believe this country is founded on principles embedded into our shared Constitution that allows everyone a seat at the table of opportunity. Somewhere intrinsically in each of us, we know that all are worthy of a quality education. We recognize that many of the ills that our current society are predicated on lowered expectations, often due to the belief that a higher education is out of reach. If you were to trace the original path of any difficulty in life, somewhere you would find a route that traces back to a lack of knowledge. Simply unknowing can be cataclysmic in one's personal trajectory. The ability to overcome an obstacle hinges upon one's access to garnering knowledge that was once unknown. I would like to think that there is a consensus among the majority that there can be no life equity if it does not first begin in the classroom. Educational equity is not sameness, as many might presume. Educational equity provides students with the necessary tools to get them to where they need to go for them to productively contribute to society. While education itself would be the table, equity is the seat set aside for each student. It would be disingenuous on my part to define my own educational journey, which began more than 3 decades ago, as rife with challenges faced by many minorities. I have been blessed in that my pursuit of academic elevation has always been aided and bolstered by many who were willing to help, saw beyond the color of my skin, and invested in the ideal that anyone seeking a better life should be afforded that opportunity. Yet, if we are being honest, my path has not been the norm. For millions of minorities who have tried to escape their humble beginnings, educational equity disparities begin long before one ever sets foot on a college campus. The continued stark contrast in funding based on one's zip codes really begin when students first enter the public school system. Countless dear friends of mine who weren't any less qualified, any less smart, any less worthy of excellent education, like the one that I have been given, simply were not given that opportunity. And because they did not have that access, or more so, had the perception that access would be not granted to them, many of them did not reach their full potential. I could spend this entire time recounting those in my circle who should be community developers, educators, doctors, etc. Yet as noble and necessary as manual labor is, they resigned themselves to the only jobs they thought were accessible to them due to their limited education. The easy answer is that I have a form of survivor's remorse. In the humblest terms, I made it when so many of my peers did not. However, we do not have to settle for the easy answer. We must ensure that higher education is accessible to all, regardless of their background or circumstances. We must work to close the gaps that exist in our society and create a level playing field for all people. Higher education is the seal which closes the gaps which now exist. We cannot disregard the educational gaps forged from the time of this country's inception. 200 years removed from the nation's ugly history would appear to be enough time to catch up. Yet decade after decade, all the other systems on which our country is built, the family, the legal system, health care, all indicate strongly that there remains a gap in access to education for those who start in the humblest of circumstances. The truth is that there is a correlation between one's access to higher education and one's quality of life. It is important to note that there has been significant progress in the fight for educational equity. We have seen strides, progress, and moments to rejoice in the steady march toward a more perfect union. We can learn from the wisdom of notable educators, both black and white, who have dedicated their lives to advancing the cause of educational equity. One such educator is Horace Mann, who famously said, and I quote, "Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the condition of men." This sentiment is as true today as it was in Mann's time. Education is the key to unlocking the doors of opportunity and creating a more just and equitable society. Frederick Douglass and Horace Mann were never alone in their vision. They found noble company in Mary McLeod Bethune, who said, and I quote, "We have a powerful potential in our youth, and we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices so that we may direct their power toward good ends," end quote. Bethune recognized that our youth hold the key to our future and that we must invest in them to create a better tomorrow. Indeed, the potential of our youth can only be harnessed if the ground on which they stand is equitable. We must work towards a more just and equitable education system that empowers all students, regardless of their background, to realize their full potential. As educators and advocates for educational equity, we are responsible for challenging old ideas, practices, and working towards creating a more just and equitable future for all. So as we gather here today, we have reached a significant milestone in our educational journey. Together as a class, we have faced challenges, persevered through adversity, and ultimately emerged stronger and more enlightened. Our diverse backgrounds and experiences have enriched our collective understanding of the world and have contributed to our growth as a community of learners. As we celebrate our achievement, let us remember that our pursuit of educational equity does not end here. This moment signifies not only the culmination of our efforts, but also the beginning of a new chapter in our lives, where we continue to advocate for and contribute to a more equitable and just society. So let us march forward with a renewed sense of purpose, carrying the lessons we have learned and the bonds that we have forged. Together, we will continue to break down barriers, uplift one another, and ensure that the light of education shines bright for all. Friends, the path towards educational equity will not be easy, but it is one that we must all walk together. We must be prepared to embrace new ideas and policies impacting millions of students from all walks of life. We must create a society where every student can receive an education that will enable them to achieve their dreams. As we continue this journey, let the words of Frederick Douglass, Horace Mann's spirit, and Mary McLeod Bethune's vision guide us. Let us embrace and wear the garments of grace and truth, and let us work towards a future that is brighter and more equitable for all. Thank you and congratulations again to my fellow graduates.
The award of the degree of Doctor of Laws will now be conferred. Adrienne Arsht will be presented by Goucher Alumna and Board of Trustees member Tara Abdullah Inri.
Hi everyone, and I just want to say congratulations again on graduating, like you guys did that. So proud of y'all. As many of you may know, I graduated from Goucher in 2022 with honors in psychology and minors in political science and public health. Currently, I'm working steadily towards entering law school in the fall of 2024. My goal is to be an appellate litigator with a focus on social justice work. Ms. Arsht is a significant role model for me and other strong, smart, and resourceful women working towards a career in law, as she has had decades of career success behind her and is a generous philanthropist who, throughout her life, has given to causes that support social justice, the arts, and resilience, among others. While at Goucher, I had the great benefit of being an Arsht diplomat, a program that shapes the leaders of tomorrow thanks to the generosity of Ms. Arsht. During my time in that program, I gained perspective on just how much a Goucher degree has helped shape the leaders of tomorrow, especially in Baltimore. We, as diplomats, were given the opportunity to meet with several community leaders, such as Odette Ramos, the council member for Baltimore's 14th District, and Alice Kennedy, the Commissioner for Home Ownership and Housing in Baltimore City. These meetings, while informative, also showed me a wide range of career paths and reminded me to be open to more possibilities. Earlier this year, I was given the opportunity to meet Ms. Arsht at her home. I remember initially being extremely nervous about that meeting, but leaving with the knowledge that I should have business cards and that law school will be tough, but I can easily be tougher. Thank you, Ms. Arsht, for contributing to my Goucher education and leadership development and to those of so many other Goucher students. And now I have the pleasure of telling you all a bit more about Ms. Arsht. As a business leader and impact philanthropist, Adrienne Arsht has taken a leading role promoting artistic, business, and civic growth. Her $30 million contribution to Miami's Performing Arts Center in 2008 secured its financial footing. In her honor, the center was renamed the Adrienne Arsht Center for the Performing Arts of Miami-Dade County. In 2012, her contribution of $10 million to Lincoln Center was recognized with the dedication of the Adrienne Arsht Stage in Alice Tully Hall. Ms. Arsht donated $5 million to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to fund the museum's first ever paid internship program and $10 million to fund Met Live Arts programming. With her gift, the Met is the single largest art museum in the country to offer 100% paid internships. In Washington in 2016, Ms. Arsht spearheaded the creation of the Adrienne Arsht Center for Resilience at the Atlantic Council, which was renamed in 2019 the Adrienne Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center, with the $30 million Rockefeller Foundation gift that she matched. She also founded in 2013 the Adrienne Arsht Latin America Center at the Atlantic Council to focus on the role of South America and the Caribbean in the transatlantic community. And in April 2022, she endowed the center with a $25 million donation. Recently, Ms. Arsht donated $10 million to the Smithsonian Institution to launch the Adrienne Arsht Community-Based Resilience Solutions Initiative, a multi-year program to research tropical resilience and educate the public about the role resilience plays in shaping the world around us. Ms. Arsht is a trustee of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, where she established the Adrienne Arsht Theater Fund. She is Executive Vice Chairman of the Atlantic Council, Honorary Trustee of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and Trustee Emerita of Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. She is a member of National Advisory Board of the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute for American Democracy and a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Arsht is a graduate of Mount Holyoke College and a graduate of Villanova Law School, and is a member of the Delaware Bar.
So, Ms. Arsht, in recognition of your inspirational leadership and remarkable legacy of philanthropy, as a trailblazer with a storied career in banking and the law, a recipient of the Carnegie Medal of Excellence, as an innovative board member of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, the Metropolitan Museum of Arts, and the Atlantic Council, for your dedication to strengthening relations between Latin America and the United States, for your work as a tireless advocate on behalf of civic life in New York, Washington, D.C., and Miami, for your vision in creating and endowing the Roxana Cannon Arsht 35 Center for Ethics and Leadership here at Goucher College in honor of your late mother, and for your support of the Arsht Presidential Diplomats, which seeks to recognize and cultivate future student leaders at Goucher College. The trustees and faculty of Goucher College are proud to confer upon you, Adrienne Arsht, the degree of Doctorate of Laws, honoris causa.
Taller speakers before me. Congratulations to the class of 2023 for your academic achievements that are recognized by your graduation from Goucher College today. My mother, Roxana Cannon, graduated from Goucher in 1935 at the age of 20. I graduated from Mount Holyoke College in 1963. That's 60 years ago, almost to the day. The graduation speaker was U Thant, then Secretary General of the UN. How do I remember? I don't. I don't remember anything about my graduation. But my mother did, and she raved about the words of the Secretary General. And you and I will remember the words of today's commencement speaker, Anna Deavere Smith. She is a very special person, and I'm proud to call her my friend. So I will be brief so we can all hear her remarks. My mother kept lots of sayings in a notebook. One that I will highlight today is a quote purportedly from Edmund Burke, the Anglo-Irish philosopher. He said, "All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good people do nothing." I'll say it again. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good people do nothing. And now I'm going to quote from a speech from my mother, your fellow alumna. She gave this speech in 1998 when accepting an award, and I have excerpted a paragraph or two. So I am now speaking as my mother did. I commend all who are courageous. I recognize and accept the fact that the luxury of speaking out on controversial issues sometimes comes at too high a price. However, I urge everyone to learn the joy and satisfaction of speaking and acting publicly and privately on issues that may be controversial, but are, on balance and in the long run, more rewarding than science. As she says, this is easy for me to say from the perspective of an 81-year-old financially secure retired citizen, but that is how I feel. And so, remember the words of my mother and Edmund Burke. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good people do nothing. Make sure that you stand up for what is right. If you don't, who will?
The award of the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts will now be conferred. Anna Deavere Smith will be presented by President Kent Devereaux and Lisa Stromberg, Chair of the Goucher College Board of Trustees.
We are honored to have Anna Deavere Smith with us here today to give the 2023 commencement address. She has been an inspiration for me since I first saw her perform over 30 years ago. Playwright, actor, educator, Anna Deavere Smith uses her singular brand of theater to explore issues of community, character, and diversity in America. The MacArthur Foundation honored Smith with the Genius Fellowship for creating, quote, a new form of theater, a blend of theatrical art, social commentary, journalism, and intimate reverie. You may know Ms. Deavere Smith best as Nancy McNally on The West Wing, or for her roles in Showtime's Nurse Jackie, or Shondaland's Inventing Anna, but the core of her work is in the theater. Her play, Notes from the Field, was the winner of an Obie Award. the 2017 Lortel Award for Outstanding Solo Show, and was named one of the top 10 plays of the year by Time magazine. Among Ms. DeVere Smith's other awards are the 2012 National Humanities Medal, presented by President Obama, the 2015 Jefferson Lecture Honor, a Guggenheim Fellowship, and the George Polk Career Award for Authentic Journalism. She has several honorary degrees, among them ones from Harvard, Spelman, and Oxford, and is a professor at the New York University. Anna, would you like to approach the... In recognition of your singular brand of theater, which gives voices to those often overlooked or left behind, that calls on all of us to examine issues of community, character, and privilege in our common humanity. Proud daughter of Baltimore, an accomplished actor whose credits span television, film, and stage, a celebrated playwright exploring and amplifying the issues of mass incarceration in America, educator and professor at New York University, recipient of a MacArthur Foundation Genius Fellowship, several Obie Awards, the National Humanities Medal, the George Polk Career Award, and the Jefferson Lectureship in the Humanities. The trustees and faculty of Goucher College are proud to confer upon Anna DeVere Smith the degree of Doctor of Fine Arts, honoris causa.
I don't know any of the graduates of 2023 personally, but given all of those assembled, and particularly the parents, the glow of pride that I see, let us just say to you that as the late Tina Turner would say, you're simply the best. Thank you, President Devereaux. Thank you to all of the speakers, the wisdom that you've shared with us today, to be here with the parents of students, graduates, siblings. How many siblings? Applaud if you're a sibling. I don't think siblings get enough attention in what they do to get you this far. I think you spoke of your sister today, yes. The Board of Trustees, friends, and my fellow honorand Adrienne Arsht. Having now lived in 3 large cities for parts of my life, New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, I still consider myself a daughter of Baltimore. When I was a girl, Goucher was a far-off idea, a place, Baltimore then, and some would argue still now, rampant de facto segregation. I ended up going to a college that was kind of like what Goucher was in the late 60s, small, predominantly white, Beaver College, called at the time outside of Philly, now Arcadia University, and like Goucher now turned co-ed. But at the time, schools like Beaver, Goucher, Mills in California, Smith, Mount Holyoke, were looking for nice Negro girls. They thought I was one. And so I was recruited along with 6 other nice Negro girls to go to Beaver. I think there were only 8, including upperclassmen. And when Martin Luther King was murdered that same year, we became, to everybody's dismay, the Beaver College Blacks. I was born in Baltimore in a hospital for colored, we were called then Baltimoreans, Provident Hospital. My mother was in labor for 5 days. I came down the birth canal and turned back up. I am not sure what that says about my sense at that time of what Baltimore had in store for me. So I am truly a daughter of Baltimore. Goucher, too, is a daughter of Baltimore, and its birth was not easy. In 1938, soon after your mother graduated, Anna Hubeck Nip and Thaddeus P. Thomas chronicled the beginnings of Goucher almost down to the penny. Their book, The History of Goucher College, published in connection with the 50th anniversary. By the way, for those of you who believe we are in unprecedented times when it comes to struggle, take a look at the book. One finds on the first page a quote from the Saturday Review. Quote, "The great argument against the existence of this equality of intellect in women is that it does not exist. If that proof does not satisfy the female philosopher, we have no better to give." The authors further evoke the words of a Columbia University professor who posited that the only reason women receive high marks is because professors feel sorry for them. In 1897, barely a decade after your school opened its doors, class president Emma George Hemingway addressed her classmates on class day this way: "A college girl, what is she? Why should we be set aside as a curious species to be studied and discussed as one of the end-of-the-century phenomena? Newspaper writers at a loss for a subject never weary in their endeavor to classify us by our peculiarities, to account for us even, to find our cause in the conditions of the age. What is there queer about us? Here's some of the headings of articles written about us. How the college girl walks. How the college girl talks. Freaks from college. Academic violets. A college girl's duty to her brother. The college woman versus the society woman. Where are the two incompatible? The queries, too, are amusing. Is a college woman always amenable to reason? Is a college girl susceptible? I don't know what the susceptible thing is about. Do college women marry? Does a higher education unfit a woman for cooking? Will a college girl flirt? Will a college woman rule her husband? Don't ask such questions. College does not change us, it develops us. It is not the new woman we emulate, but the true woman. And so even as you are now not simply an educational institution for, I suppose, fairly well-off white women, the fact that you were born in difficulty should give you courage. As we know, it doesn't go away. Money was key in getting the college started. We think the problem of money, we talk about it as one of the two biggest problems in higher education now, exponentially greater. But of course, the founders had to work very hard to start to bear this daughter of Baltimore, wealthy Baltimoreans, members of the Methodist Episcopal congregation, who gave the prospect of educating women the benefit of the doubt. Now, I want you to hold on to that idea, the benefit of the doubt. I was particularly struck that the children of the Sunday schools came up with $9,300. And as you heard the large amounts of money that Ms. Arsht, now Dr. Arsht, has contributed, I know you also believe in the power of philanthropy and you would like us all to step up. A penny is a form of philanthropy. How these Sunday school children found $9,300, I can't imagine. How much did they charge for lemonade? I know by looking it up that Girl Scout cookies weren't even a thing at the time. But it's the benefit of the doubt that makes things possible. Leadership is important, and I think some of you may have heard about first follower theory. The leader is nothing without a first follower. Schools like Goucher, schools like New York University focus on on leadership, but any innovator could be considered crazy until that first follower steps up to give the benefit of the doubt. The next follower and the next come up until there's movement and change. Deep in the history of all change is that first follower. So as you step into the world, look not only for the opportunity to be a leader, but for the opportunity to be the first follower. This must have been the case in 1986 when Goucher decided to go co-ed. The benefit of the doubt. Class of 2023, you know about uncertainty. You know about the unexpected. And so you probably won't be bothered by the advice that I've been giving my students at New York University for the past 10 years. Confidence is overrated. Give doubt a try. It's counterintuitive to some of you that I celebrate doubt on this, your graduation day, the very moment when you're ready to plant a solid step into your future. But you've proven that you can move forward without certainty. You've proven that you can tackle the unexpected. In 1971, when I left Beaver College, again, a place quite like Goucher was at that time, I left in bare feet, practically. People who could afford shoes in the late 60s took to walking in bare feet in city streets. I'm not sure why. But I left Baltimore. I don't know what the statement was, but I'm going to make a conjecture. I left Baltimore with $80 and an overnight bag. I only knew one thing for sure. I would not ask my parents for another dime. They'd sacrificed enough. And that's pretty much what happened. I didn't, to this day, ask them for money. I asked my father to lend me some money that I paid back to be able to pay for parking in San Francisco when I was in conservatory. I forged a path on my own, barefoot, really, with an acceptance of the unknown. What had happened in America and in the world at that time was so disruptive and so violent that it's almost as if we were being reborn with bare feet, feet first. We may have stepped into the world in bare feet in those days. You are stepping into the world more like experienced surfers ready to ride the waves. Given what you've faced already, you can take on those waves because you know about uncertainty and you know about doubt. And for those of you who seek to do well and do good, doubt is exactly needed in the realm of fostering a better world. Giving the benefit of the doubt to those with whom you do not agree. Being willing to be not so sure about your belief system, if only to give the space for another point of view. I have never known the polarization that we experience in America right now. We are crippled by it. Goodwill. As our new leaders, our noble first followers, our second followers, you are needed to construct communities, workplaces, secular places, religious places, places for recreation, businesses, where goodwill can thrive. And the most important ingredients is the willingness to listen. My fellow honorand, Adrienne Arsh, champions resilience. She founded, as you've heard, an entire center in Washington, D.C. to study resilience. If you were to spend time with her, you would find piles of books on the subject. She scrutinizes magazines and newspapers and clips of articles on all kinds of resilience, personal resilience, survivors of war, Olympians, special ops people, resilience on this earth, how we will survive climate change and so forth. Who survives and why? You need resilience more than you need confidence. You need an aptitude to move forward without the absolute. You need what recent graduation speakers, Reverend Barber and Senator Booker, have talked about. Hope. But when I talked to Senator Booker about hope, he said that black folks have to resurrect hope every day. Resurrect hope. Hope is not a given. Hope is active. And as you are first followers, leaders, second followers, you will have to come with the possibility of showing that you can resurrect hope, that you can lead people forward without the absolute in front of you. Given what you've been through, you're ready. I think about the beginnings of this institution in the face of prevailing attitudes about educating women, from the wealthy founders to the church men and women to the Sunday school children. They gave the benefit of the doubt to that possibility. Did they imagine you as you are now? Not just white women of means, but individuals of different gender identities, individuals beautifully of different races, different nationalities, class backgrounds, familial backgrounds. Did they imagine you as you are? I doubt it. But look how possible you are. You are evidence what is possible. You are the possible. Go forth with doubt, active hope, and change stuff. Congratulations.
To remain in their seats. All guests are asked to remain in their seats and to keep the aisles clear during the awarding of the degrees. Please welcome Dr. Elaine Meyer-Lee, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost.
President Devereaux, I have the great honor to inform you that these candidates have fulfilled the requirements for graduation and, in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty, they are presented for the degree of Bachelor of Arts.
Josiah Acosta Ballard. Eden Adcock. Josephine Aids. Alexis Gabriel Adkins. Miriam Ahmed. Max Alberts. Joshua Angstad. Galila Solomon Asefa.
Claire Austin Washburn. Rebecca Idolet. Tahira Bakare. Rebecca Balson. I don't have him. Wyatt Castle. No, you're in the wrong. That's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Alejandra Berry Ruiz. Josh Becker. Ann Belkowitz. Richard Bialik. Corina Beamer. Daniela Blitz.
Susanna Block. Elizabeth Bobo. Coleman Joseph Boko. Coleman Joseph Boko. Kaylee Bolger. Mom Kawamba Boy. Grace Isabella Bradcock. Carolina Brassfield. Morgan Broderick.
Who are you? Okay.
Honey Brown.
My father is not here. Angelica Kalo. Maria Campbell. Belle Carini. Emma Carrillo Córdoba. Leah Gabrielle Carroll. Michelle Carroll. Andrea Cacique. Ali Chairs.
Rachel Chapman. Amita Chatterjee. Olivia Chinitz. Kain Cho. Estelle Chuck. Annabelle Christ. Alejandro Clemente. Juliette Colas.
Charlie? Charlie Collins. Eric Conaway. Ryan Conde. Julia Catherine Connolly. Sophie Content. Tess Shoka de Jager. Jessica de Coven. Daniel? Daniel Delante. Xavier. Congrats. Xavier DeVere. Yu Chen? Oh, Yu Chen? Yaya's not here. So Yu Chen is here.
Yu Chen Ding. Alejandro Dominguez. Dylan Romulus Raleigh Dubé. Lisa Eibner. Greta Albers. Ian Jacob Elkind. Celeste Fazioli. Joan Firestein. Claire Flynn. Julia Foster.
Anika Friedman. Glory Gifota. Isabela González Cruz. Hannah Goodman. Robert Graham. Elizabeth Green. Campbell Greer. Gia Greer.
Tanaya Gross. B. Guerra. Sydney Grace Giddy. Alexandra Hagen. Sammy Haley. Jacqueline Hall. Devin Harris. Hannah Rachel Harrison. Okay. Daniela Hack Harvey. Sierra Housethorne.
Elan Hedges. You switch. Camille Henley. Oh, wait a second. They switched my names. Langston Alexander. Who's in here? Oscar Hernandez Genovés. Brianna Hitchcock. Savannah Hofstein. Oh my God, this is too much fun. Kelly Holland. Vanessa Holloway. Alex is not here? Emily Ingalls. Congratulations, Cole. Cole Jackson.
Nicholas Jackson. Micah Sigmund Jaro. Emerson Jewart. Tyler Giles. Yep, got it. Tyara Johnson. Daniel Kim. Molly King. Georgia Knox. Where? Avery King McCorkle. Dana Koba. Brigid Kowal.
Hannah Cranebrain. Stella. Stella Katerina Krajcik. Isabella Lambro. Mariah Lees. Mari? Mari. Mari Levin. Khadidria? Khadidria, okay, just want to make sure. Khadidria Lewis.
Benjamin Liebeskind. Josh Lichty. Finley Lindsay. Christopher Longo. Justin Lugo. Mylisha Lynch. Jude McDonald. Amy Ebet Elbir Maldonado. Soa Malik.
Cherelle? Okay, just want to make sure. Cherelle Mansell. There we go. Erica Manson. Randy Marshall. Lexi Mason. Bryn Matson. Emma McAlpine. Carrie McCaffrey. Avery? Avery. Oh my goodness, Lucy. I'm glad I asked. Liam McCrickard. I had Avery there. William. Okay, good. William McDonald.
Una McKay. Shayla McLeish. Drew Meisegeier. Julia Miller. Rachel Miller. Mike Mintians. Zoe Mitchner. Romeros Mokate. Stella Moss Slavin.
Adrian Mubiro. Sarah Nadav. Ryan. No, Ryan, no. Ryan Nigerian. Okay. Ali Kazim Nakid. Joseph. Oh, okay. Joseph Niang. Huh? No, Ryan. You're Ryan. Here. Okay. So make sure. Ryan Orenstein. Ariana Maria. Ariana Maria Elizabeth Padilla. Yanika? Yanika? Yanika. Yanika Pakowski.
Heather Parkin. Elena Pelton. Isaiah Perry. Gwyn Philbin. Haley Price. Kiani Quarles. Kyle Ramos. Lillian Reiser.
Robert Richie Maldonado. Brendan Robinson. Ay, Tomás, Anita's not here. Tomás Rodríguez. Claudia Roller. Alison Rose. Scott Rosen. Emily Ross. River Rowe.
Prachi Ruina. Marta Ryan. Janine Sunday. Omar Sass. Julia Shepis. Tyler Shella. Yeah. Meredith Shuloff. Sarah Schulteis.
Claudine Schwartz. Cecilia Scott. Aidan Scruvala. Daniela Sedano. Elsa Camille Selmayr. Parsa? Okay. Sheikh al-Islami. Parsa Sheikh al-Islami. Okay. McKaylin Shoup. Ellie Siegel. Diona. Diona Smiling. Benjamin Smith.
Mabel Smith. Kai Somerville. Oh, Jennifer Spar. Jacqueline Spencer. Samuel Stewart. Molly Miller Stewart.
Son Tai. Jack Topper. Okay, just want to make sure. Claire Topping. Mariana Torres. Darío. Darío Rafael Tobal. Luca Trica. That's you.
Tashira Tucker.
She's coming soon.
Sophia Tumalo. Esperanza Tyler. Monica Valdez Ramos. Emerita Velasquez. Barrick Vexler. Dennis Villacorta.
Luke Vincent. Charlie Viola. Kashay Warren. Karen? Karen? Karen Webb. Olivia Welch. Samantha Westcoat.
Nico White. Kyrie Wilkins. Kanan Wilkinson. Charlotte Willis.
Kelsey Wood. Jennifer Webbins. Chase Yakulak. Jonathan Yanes. Chandler? Chandler Yateman. Aida York. Last but not least, Isabel Young.
The awarding of the graduate degrees will begin. Please again welcome Dr. Elaine Meyer-Lee, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost.
President Devereaux, I have the honor to inform you that these candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for graduation, and in accordance with the recommendation of the faculty, they are presented for the following master's degrees: Masters of Arts in Arts Administration, Masters of Arts in Cultural Sustainability, Masters of Arts in Historic Preservation, Masters of Arts in Teaching, Masters of Education, Masters of Fine Arts in Nonfiction, and Masters of Science in Higher Education, Policy, Research, and Administration.
Ariel Adler. Ashley Allgard. Jillian Archibald. Timothy Baldwin.
Brittany Beeman. Raina. Lindsay Benjamin. Reina Bernardini. Samantha Bowie. Jasmine? Jasmine Bradshaw. Megan Brosh.
Felicia Louise Burke. Olivia Chapman. Hannah Church. Elizabeth Cohen.
Kyle Connor. Caitlin Costes. Coral de León. Davina Dixon. Alina Duguid. Aixa. ¿Cómo yo? Aixa Espinal Maldonado.
Heather Fowler. Kristen Glassman. Jessica Gonzalez. Ryan Gordon.
Morgan Hay. Rebecca Haynes. Charmin Holbrook. Deborah Hollingshead. Amy Hood. Sarah Hopkins.
Marissa Katz. Cassandra Kirby.
Oh. Oh, there you go. Elizabeth Lippold. Jessica. Okay, good. And Larry. Jessica Maiolino. Larry Nance.
Jennifer Nicewarner. Tamara Parsons. Leon Emmanuel Payano Frias. Alyssa Pettis. Michael Price. Annette Rios.
Katie? Katie Ross. Maggie Shook. Shiree Snyder. Laura? Laura Soder.
Kayla Stutz. Rachel Sutherland. Holly Thomas Barton. Kendra Walker.
Nicole Welsh. Emily Welsh. Ashley Wiley. Amor. Morgan Renee Wittelsberger. Yuan Zhang.
So can I ask the class of 2023 undergraduate class to please stand? Now, because now we're going to make it official. By the authority of the state of Maryland, vested in the trustees of Goucher College, and by them delegated to me, I confer upon all of you, individually and collectively, as the class of 2023, the degree of Bachelor of Arts with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. And Bachelor of Arts degree recipients can now be seated. Can I have the graduate students of professional degrees please stand? And as our graduate programs have grown over the year, they haven't gotten the love that they need. So let's make sure that our graduate degree recipients get the loves that they need. So graduate and professional degree recipients, by the authority of the state of Maryland, vested in the trustees of Goucher College, and by them delegated to me, I confer to all of you, individually and collectively, as the class of 2023, the respective degrees you have earned with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, graduates. So please, everyone, join me in celebrating and congratulating both our undergraduate and our graduate degree recipients this year. Now, I would like to introduce to you all Damon Highsmith, class of 2003, and president of the Alumni and Alumni Association of Goucher College, your alumni association. Damon?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Damon Highsmith, class of 2003. As the president of the Alumni and Alumni of Goucher College, fondly known as the AAGC, it is my honor to welcome and induct the class of 2023 undergraduate and graduate students into the Alumni Association. My story as a Goucher graduate started 20 years ago, sitting across campus in the SRC. It was raining. And while it rained on our commencement day, it was just as joyous a day for us as I imagine it must be for all of you. I spent most of the night before fondly reminiscing with my fellow classmates on our time on campus. I recall the excitement of donning my cap and gown, feeling the culmination of my years of hard work and perseverance had paid off, knowing that the person who had entered Goucher's campus 4 years earlier was now a bit different, a lifelong learner, an empathetic listener, and a global citizen. I also recall the joy of being surrounded by my family, friends, teammates, and the faculty and staff who supported me along the way. I remember the touching send-off, a close-knit group of friends held in Towson for each other once we had concluded lunch and dinner and celebrations with our families. And while I did not know exactly what was next for me, and if some of you don't either, don't panic, thanks to Goucher, I knew I was ready for whatever the next chapter of my story held. As has been mentioned several times so far today, these past few years have been exceptionally challenging for all of us, and I applaud you for your resilience and for never giving up. The college experience is more than academics and professional preparation. It's about finding your path, your people, and finding yourself along the way, and I'm confident that you too are up for whatever the next chapter of your story holds. Today, you transition from being students to Goucher alumni, and I encourage you to stay connected to Goucher through events, communications, and volunteer opportunities. As the pandemic has proven, Goucher is much more than a physical place. It is a community of alumni, students, faculty, and staff. It is your community, and it always will be. So I'm eager for you to take the next step of your journey. Today, you join 44,000 alumni and alumni who have come before you. And now I have the true privilege of welcoming you to the ranks of our Alumni and Alumni Association. So, for those who are able, class of 2023, would you please stand? On behalf of the AAGC, I would like to recognize your outstanding achievement in graduating from Goucher College. You are now officially a member of the Goucher alumni family. You may now turn your tassels from the right side of your mortarboard to the left. At the end of the ceremony, you will be handed a special gift from the AAGC to celebrate your accomplishments, honor your time at Goucher, and remind you that you will always be connected to your alma mater. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2023.
You may be seated. And now I would like to invite our special commencement choir to the stage to perform I Lived by One Republic. And You will find the lyrics on the inside back cover of your commencement program if you want to join along.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't fear the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall.
I hope when the crowd screams out, they're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay.
Hope that you're falling down, it hurts so bad. The only way you can know is all you have.
And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. When the moment comes, you'll say, I did it all. I did it all. I owned every second that this world could give. Saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived.
Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. That when that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup.
I wish that I could witness all your joy and all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say I did it all. I did it all.
I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone,
I swear I lived.
Every broken bone,
I swear I lived.
every broken bone.
I swear I
did it all.
I did it all.
I owned every second that this world could give. I saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone,
I swear I
Thank you to the Special Commencement Choir and Michael Samanchak for organizing this. So to all of you graduates of class of 2023, from all of us here at Goucher, an affectionate farewell. We look forward to hearing from you and your accomplishments, both personal and professional. As you make us all Goucher proud, we look forward to seeing you on your next visit to campus. So let me introduce, to close, the Reverend Maba Jones to lead us in a closing benediction. And following the benediction, please remain in your seats until the academic procession has passed. And as we conclude our commencement ceremony, I want to briefly recognize our newest faculty emeriti who are joining you as Goucher grads in the next phase of their lives. And we want to thank them for their years of service, especially Madison Smart Bell, Professor Emeritus of Creative Writing, Jeffrey Chappell, Instructor Emeritus of Music, Eric Singer, Professor Emeritus of Political Science and International Relations, Elizabeth Spires, Professor Emerita of Creative Writing, and Catherine St. Ors, Associate Professor Emerita of French. Please join me in thanking all of them. And after the procession, graduates, family members, guests are invited to visit with each other, faculty and staff, until 3 p.m. at the special designated areas noted in your program around the campus. So, Reverend Maba Jones.
Congratulations, class of 2023. Thank you to the faculty, staff, trustees, administrators, President Devereaux, friends, family, honored guests, and of course, Adrian Archt and Anna DeVere Smith. Thank you for those inspiring words. The benediction is the final blessing offered as the traditional closing of a ceremony to carry with you as we part ways. Class of 2023, as this is your final departure as students of Goucher College, it is my honor as the chaplain of the college to offer you this blessing. I ask that you please rise in body or spirit as you are able and join me in this benediction. Holy One, God of many names, as we prepare to depart from this momentous celebration, now with a new identity as graduates of this esteemed institution, we look to the future with hope and excitement, with reverence and respect for what we leave behind, and with a renewed resolve to bring the values and principles we have gained into who we will become. May we engage every new experience with curiosity, creativity, and compassion, keeping our eyes towards justice, our minds towards intellect, and our hearts filled with the promise of what tomorrow brings. Bless this staff, faculty, administrators, and all who have made this day possible. Bless this campus and all who will follow in our footsteps. And bless these graduates, that they may feel the pride and conviction of what they have accomplished. Friends, the future is now. The responsibility is yours. The dream will become your reality. As the Goucher Seal commands, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. You are what is good about Goucher College. Go forth and prove it. Amen.
Congratulations. There you go. Congratulations. A gift from us. Congratulations. Congratulations, a gift from us. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, you're welcome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Nice job. It turned out awesome. Congrats. Congratulations. 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 Congrats. Congratulations. There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're welcome. Congrats. There you go.